Hi, this is Cristina.
And Carmen.
And this is another episode of Espooky Tales, the podcast for all things spooky, true crime, related to Latin America. And today we have some spooky stories straight from Primer Impacto.
Oh.
I'm going to put new sounds in here. And a Cuban crime regarding the Menendezes, but not those ones.
A different pair of Menendez?
Yes, we'll get into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Menendezes that I didn't know existed, but like maybe we all should have, honestly.
Interesting.
Anyway, before all that, we do have a listener story. And if you want to send us your stories, you can email espookytales@gmail.com. You can DM us on any socials. You can call the Spooky Hotline. You can submit it on Discord. There's so many ways to get us your stories. We love receiving them. All right. This
listener story is from Aaliyah. Hi, I really love your videos and I hope you'll have time to read my story and share it on your page. This happened back in January 2012. My sister was about 7 and I was 5. My great-grandmother passed away just a week ago. She was possessed by spirits.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. What?
Not her being possessed at the time of her death.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. She was possessed by spirits. Few were Muslim and few non-Muslims too. Whenever she would get possessed, she would start speaking in different languages. She was an old Pashtun woman who could only speak Pashto, but when possessed, she'd speak Arabic, Urdu, Farsi, and English. Multilingual.
Oh, wow. Was I going to say the same thing?
Multilingual demon or spirit. I don't know if it's demon. Okay, anyway. She was very little and tiny, but her soul got so powerful, even if she was held by 4 men, they wouldn't be able to hold her down.
Strong, independent woman.
Love to see it. So we had some relatives visiting us to give their condolences and respect. They asked my grandmother to come with them to visit our cousins. They lived right next to us, almost 5 minutes away. Since my grandmother was old, they told her to sit in the car to make it easier for her, and me and my sister tagged along with her to accompany her. When we were coming back, in between our houses, there was a gutter, and because of the water there, it had grown out trees and bushes. So long, they almost looked like a tiny forest. We would either run through that forest because it was quicker to get to our home, or we would have to walk the long way. I decided to run through it so I could reach our house before my sister. My sister kept calling me from behind, telling me to stop so we could go together. She was already halfway there, so she ran as fast as she could to reach our house. Just when she came out of the trees, she saw that I was standing behind our car, a short girl with a bob cut. She thought I was playing hide and seek with her, so she told me, "It's not funny. I saw you come out." I didn't say anything and started running around the car, and she started chasing me. She ran a few laps around the car when all of a sudden, quote, I stopped. So yeah, it's what we thought. Who is this?
Who the fuck is this?
My sister said that when I turned around, it was not my face, but instead my dead great-grandmother's old wrinkly face smiling at her creepily.
Oh, no.
Then, quote, I started approaching my sister. So my sister got scared and wanted to run away, but felt like her legs wouldn't move so fast. And as if they have a heavy weight on them. So she felt like she couldn't move. She did her best to get inside her house. And when she did, she saw me already in the house playing. And then she fainted.
Fuck? Oh my
and was sick for a few weeks. What was that? Oh my God.
No.
That is so scary. Who was she playing with?
Who was that bitch with
what
the bob
was
cut?
That? And with the great-grandmother's face.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
No, that was scary. I would have passed out also.
No wonder she was sick for weeks. I would have killed myself. No, but that's seriously horrifying.
It truly is terrifying. I'm like, what the hell is that? What was it trying to accomplish? That's scary.
I couldn't say, but wow, I can't. This story had it all, really.
It did, huh?
It started with the possessed great-grandmother and ended with the possessed great-grandmother, but so many things happened in between.
Yeah.
Wow, seriously creepy. Thanks so much for sending your story in. I don't know if I can recover from this.
Yeah, that was scary.
But why don't you tell us less scary things from Primer Impacto? Because I don't think it can get scarier than this.
Yeah. Why don't we get into something so unserious?
Primer Impacto.
Yeah. Does it get more unserious than Primer Impacto? I don't think so. Okay. So I think we all know what Primer Impacto is. And have most likely already been traumatized by their stories at some point. But just in case, here is some background. The tabloid-style news show first launched on Univision in 1994.
I thought it was a real news show for the longest time.
I guess when I was younger, I did too. I didn't know it was like a tabloid style.
Right. Yeah. Like, I didn't know it was a joke to not be taken seriously.
To be fair, there was an astrologer on the rolls, on the paperwork.
I thought that was normal. I thought
for the
it was,
news,
like, credible. Yeah. Okay. I was a kid again.
True. Okay. Well,
I'm not talking about like last year. I'm talking about like 10 years ago when I was a baby.
Okay. That's just shocking because you're still a baby.
You're right. I am just a 30-year-old baby.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
So since then, well-known journalists like Mirka de Llanos, Maria Celeste Araras, Fernando del Rincón, anyway, and Bárbara Bermudo, that's how I remember the most, have hosted it.
I remember the first one you said.
Oh, I just remember Bárbara Bermudo.
Was the name
I
again?
think because her name, has a ring to it because of the alliteration.
That's true.
The first name I said was Mirka de Llanos.
Yes. Okay. That's, her and the one after I remember the most. And I thought they were like legit journalists. So that's another thing that added to my really believing this was a legit news station.
Maybe some of them
I
were.
can't be alone. I don't know. They were actual like journalists.
Oh, that's what you're saying. So because they were like actual legitimate journalists, you thought Primer Impacto was like legitimate
actual
news.
legit journalism.
I mean, they had their moments,
news.
Right? It couldn't have all been unserious, right? I just don't remember.
I don't know. I don't. Did they? Okay, we'll get it.
It doesn't matter. Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
Primer Impacto also featured Walter Mercado, who we all miss and love, R.I.P. He provided astrology halfway through the episodes for a long time.
And just hearing it was so epic. He did it in such a soothing, beautiful voice, majestic voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should play a clip here.
Yes, of Walter.
I didn't prepare one, but I'll find one.
Okay. What was that thing he always said? I guess it'll be in the clip. It doesn't matter.
There's a thing he always says, though, isn't it? Should we just look it up right now?
And then he did it like this with his hands, right?
Yeah. Mucho, mucho amor.
Yes.
How did we forget that?
We really did.
Literally what he says.
That's all, yeah.
Se abre el libro de los cielos y tenemos una gran sorpresa. Nada más y nada menos que el sol, dador de vida, entra en Sagitario. Le envío miles y miles de bendiciones a todo aquel nacido bajo el signo de Sagitario. Mi hermano, mi hermana son sagitarianos los dos. Y yo, Piscis, de todas maneras, es un momento lindo donde el sol entra en el fuego de Sagitario y eso tocará algún aspecto de tu vida. Tienes que estar muy atento a ver.
And he was like so dramatic with it, just like the sun,
like,
and it was
beautiful.
Yeah, there will never be another like him.
I don't think so. No. So Primer Impacto tried to sell itself as a hard-hitting news program meant to be taken seriously, but ever since day one, the show covered things like UFOs, cryptid sightings, shit like that, and not that serious. Even then, it did gain a reputation as a serious news program. Many who have watched it have fallen victim to their stories and took it too seriously.
Including me, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I did think the Chupacabra was real. Yeah. Also,
and I did think that he was going to come out through the backyard and like come eat me or something. So.
And they were the ones that spread about like Harry Potter being demonic and shit like that, weren't they?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. By then, I didn't believe it anymore.
You were like, not my Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Not my Pokemon, because there's Pokemon cards too.
Right. It was everything that we liked. They ruined everything.
Yeah.
The Acereje song.
Acereje. Yeah.
Okay, anyway. A lot of people believe the shit they peddled, and they were scared, you could say. So here's some of the stories they shared on Primer Impacto. The Chupacabra's first human victim.
Okay. I believed it. Every bit of it.
Well, you might have been too young, but in 1996...
Oh, yeah. No, I remember it. No.
Shut up. In 1996, the show ran a segment about a man who was killed by El Chupacabras in the south of Guatemala. The reporter Cesar Gaitan told the story of Manuel de Jesus Francisco's terrifying death. Everyone was scared of him, but no one imagined when and where it would happen. But nevertheless, this man seems to have been the first human victim who died because of the Chupacabras. I can imagine saying that for real.
Mm-hmm. This just in.
Just in. The Chupacabras, a serial killer? Gaitan reported that the victim was last seen returning home after grabbing a few drinks. The reporter interviewed Hector Daniel Sosa, a volunteer firefighter in the region, who said the victim was found with marks on his neck and a damaged ear. We proceeded to turn him around and to see his face completely destroyed. It was very impactful, the volunteer firefighter told the reporter. Scary.
Yeah.
The segment also featured an interview with a local judge who backed Sosa's claims that marks were found on the neck. I'm not a judge. The segment then showed an alleged witness who said he saw a strange dog-looking animal hovering over the body. The victim's brother was also interviewed, but unlike the local town people, he didn't believe the Chupacabras did it. He believed, more sadder, he believed his brother was robbed and killed during the attack.
Yeah, and honestly, probably.
Yeah. Yet the show ends with the segment with the following statement. Nevertheless, others think differently and believe there's something rare about this death because just like previously reported Chupacabra attacks, the cause has been hard to explain by science. Only time will have the answer, but until that time comes, the town of San Antonio, Suchitepeque will not be able to rest in peace.
Imagine, okay, so like the brother's like, I think he was
I'd be
shot and
pissed.
killed. And then comes in the anchor. Not actually, it was Chupacabras.
And no matter what the brother says, everyone is scared of the Chupacabras in the town of San Antonio Suchipeteque. No, that was wrong. Suchitepeque.
wrong.
No, didn't I say that?
No, that was right. Yeah,
No,
you did.
I don't know now. Suchitepeque. But yeah, I would be pissed if I was the brother.
Me too.
This one I remember, also because it's been repeated over and over again in different times. The next story, yes. The next story we're going to talk about is the Virgin Mary statue crying blood. You remember that, right? Classic.
Of course. Yeah. And I believed it.
Oh, this was reported just 9 years ago.
Not a long time ago, yeah.
Nope.
I was still a baby, and so very gullible.
Yeah. The show reported on a statue of the Virgin Mary in Guadalajara, Mexico.
You know what? That's probably why we remember it more, because we were like, oh my God, Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Not Guadalajara.
I think that's why I remember
Shout
it.
out.
As always.
As many of you know, that's where our family lives.
The one thing we'll not stop talking about is how our family's from there.
Yes.
And so, yeah, they said there was a Virgin Mary statue in Guadalajara crying blood and warning people of evil and violent events to come. Actually, do remember this. The story was told by the reporter at City Cardenas. According to the report, the Virgin of Fatima had allegedly been crying blood for 4 months since the owner, Julio Cesar Cepeda Diaz, purchased it in December. Cepeda Diaz told Cardenas he placed the statue in his living room and only allows people to come at night to view it and pray the rosary. She began to manifest tears little by little, so we had to wipe them off with cotton balls. But the manifestation was so much that she began to bleed more, and we had to put her in a case. That's what he said.
Interesting.
The owner told Primer Impacto he previously owned religious paintings that bled, but he handed them over to the Archbishop of Guadalajara.
Okay. Are they in the Cathedral of Guadalajara? We should look for them.
We are going to go there soon.
We are.
In addition to the bleeding, the owner claims the bleeding statue had revealed some bad prophecies that would happen soon. In this month of August, some difficult stuff will come. You know, if I had to pretend that I was going to do a prophecy, this is what my prophecy would be. It's so generic. Like, yes, some difficult stuff will come. That could mean anything.
Yeah.
Of course, that's going to come true.
Yeah. And when I trip while holding
that
a
could be
taco
the
and
difficult
it hits the
stuff
floor,
that comes.
I'm going to be like, oh my God, my life. I have faced too many difficulties.
Yeah. And those are the difficulties that I would have warned you about in my prophecy.
Because you can't be too specific or too...
No. Yeah.
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 That's just the right amount where, anyone could be like, oh my God, it did happen.
Yeah. Finally, Cepeda Diaz claims he won't hand the statue over to the local archbishop because previously they had failed to keep him updated on the item's authenticity. So I guess they never authenticated his his portraits.
His paintings.
Yeah, paintings. I guess he still has it, maybe. I don't know.
Interesting.
I would start charging people. I'm just kidding. So the next story is a UFO travel route in La Isla Bonita.
Where's Isla Bonita?
Puerto Rico. A segment aired by Primer Impacto in 2012 claims that a group of ufologists have found a part of the route UFOs use when visiting Earth. Journalist Kiki Garcia Montes spoke to a group of locals who frequent Lajas, Puerto Rico, and claimed this town is part of an extraterrestrial route.
There is a ton of UFO sightings in Puerto Rico.
I mean, it could be true then. I believe it.
This one, I believe. Yeah.
This is just some hard-hitting journalism. They're letting themselves be seen more and more on this route. There's something they want from us, Reynaldo Rios told Garcia Montes. Reynaldo Rios claims he has been channeling messages from UFOs for decades, and they led him to Lajas. I was supposed to stay crippled. I then saw 3 lights pass by my room that turned into small luminous entities. They cured my back and told me I came to this world to introduce them and prepare their path, he said.
Well, that's very nice of them to cure him.
Yeah.
They should, if they're going to be bothering him to like...
If they expect him to work for them.
Yeah, that's the least they could do.
Yeah.
Pay him. Pay the man.
I agree. Francisco Almora, who owns the mountain the group of UFO believers visits, he owns the mountain. Interesting.
I guess.
Anyway, he says that the group made him a believer. He said, I'm not a big fan, but to be honest, I've seen it. I have to see it to believe it. The government has asked me for permission to put something there too. Maybe like a watchtower or something to watch the UFOs.
Right.
Almora told Primer Impacto UFOs constantly fly over his land and said he last saw one 2 days before speaking with the reporter. Another local believer, Sharon Flores, or Sharon, I guess, told the reporter that beings from another universe told her there are 2 rocks in a nearby mountain that'll be vital during a catastrophe that's set to happen. Another generic prophecy.
Too vague. Yeah. I need them to say what day.
What year? It does get more specific. Hold on.
Oh, shit. Oh, okay. Whoop. I'm judging too soon.
Whoop. Okay. Sharon went on to say, those are the rocks that are going to give water to the people because all of the other water is going to be contaminated.
I believe it. I don't need any further proof.
Ornada Garcia, in addition, says extraterrestrials have performed surgery on her without any tools. They did cure the other guy too, so.
Yeah.
They put their hand in here, turned everything around, and then they took their hand out for a bit, and then they put it in again and strengthened everything. And then they came across my ribs and strengthened that too.
Oh.
No, I had to fight the urge to say, that's what she said.
Okay.
Interesting technique there. On the night that Garcia Montes joined the group, they only observed a small light in the sky. But the group still believes that foolproof evidence of life on other planets will eventually be found in the skies over Lajas.
If it's found anywhere, it's going to be Puerto Rico. Like, there's so many sightings there. And I've heard Lajas before, and I can't remember if this is the same region as El Yunque or if it's somewhere else, because again, I don't know the geography in Puerto Rico, but there's a lot of sightings in this like forest area, El Yunque. So yeah, that I for sure believe.
And that was it.
That was okay.
Yeah.
I remember the chupacabras because I've come across it time and time again later. And I remember, and also that's not the first time. I feel like they were always talking about the chupacabras.
Oh yeah.
But like the chupacabras, lechuza came up a few times about someone encountering one, UFOs. So yeah, I recall these stories, but I definitely believed some of them.
I don't remember like really believing them, but I do remember hearing the tier 1, the Virgin Mary tier 1.
Yeah.
More than once.
Let us know. Yeah. Let us know what Primer Impacto stories you remember. What hard-hitting Primer Impacto stories impacted you. And if you feel personally victimized by Primer Impacto. All right. And I guess we'll take a little ad break here and return with my half of the episode. And we're back. And like I said at the top, this has to do, it's a Cuban crime case, and it involves the Menendezes, but not the Menendezes that we know that are also Cuban. Did you know that about them?
Yeah, I think I did.
I'm leaving that case for another day. I still want to do it one day. But again, it's a lot. Anyway, no, it doesn't involve murder, but it does involve a scamming Latino U.S. senator.
Okay.
Bob Menendez. And after I typed all this, I'm like, oh man, I hope this isn't like too boring.
Oh, I love a good scam. So,
And by the end of it, I was like, was this even a good scam? I don't know. But we'll
find out.
It's too late now. So Robert, aka Bob Menendez, was born January 1st, 1954 in New York City to Cuban immigrant parents, Mario Menendez and Evangelina Menendez. They fled Cuba just a few months before Robert was born in New York City. In the US, Mario Menendez, became a carpenter and Evangelina became a seamstress. That's what they did. But they left New York City for New Jersey. That's where Bob Menendez was raised. That's where he was raised.
I was like, he was already born.
That's where he was born and raised. Spreading misinformation. All right. He went to Union Hill High School, where he developed a love for public speaking. And naturally, I feel like if you love public speaking, you're only going to do one of two things.
You're diabolical.
Start a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I think diabolical falls into that. You're going to start a podcast. Yeah. You're going to become an actor, actress, or you're going to become a politician.
Yeah.
That's my theory, because I got an A in public speaking.
Oh my God.
And I was like, wow, I'm really good at this.
I hate public speaking.
Oh.
I think I got, I got an A also, but I didn't enjoy not 1 minute of it.
Okay, I did.
I could not stand it. Put me in front of, well, that's why I didn't want to do anything live in the panel either. So
that's true. You didn't want to, and then you left for a potty break and you didn't come back.
Yeah.
And then I told everyone.
I told you not to tell anybody I was peeing, and then you told everybody, and I was like, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, you're gonna do one of three things if you love public speaking: become a dictator. No. Anyway, so yeah, he loved public speaking, and he just developed that skill with the help of his speech teacher, Gail Harper. He later told his mama,
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I wrote
that
and I regretted it. Sorry. He later told his mom that Miss Harper helped him understand the power of education and what it means to put a premium on learning and working hard. So those Latino ideals are already ingrained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. He became a student body president, politics. He was clearly a bright student, but he did have very tough times too. His father, Mario Menendez, was a gambling addict, and he died by suicide after not being able to pay some of his debts. So,
that's rough. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Despite that, though, Bob Menendez was the first in the family to go to college. He attended St. Peter's College in Jersey City. He graduated with his BA in political science. And then I don't know what this is, Juris Doctor degree.
A lawyer, fool.
Oh, thanks. Like I said, I'm a dumb bitch. I don't have a degree like you.
That's why I knew.
Okay, from Rutgers Law School in 1979.
It's like that's the degree. And then you have to pass the bar to be like actual, I think, practicing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. This all makes sense. Then he took the bar and passed it in 1980 and became a lawyer in a private practice. But between all that, he made time for politics.
I thought you were going to say he made time for scams.
No. I don't think the scamming started yet. So he was an aide to William V. Musto, Union City mayor turned state senator. Bob was doing this in high school. That's when he became an aide to the mayor.
That's young to be doing that kind of job, isn't it? I don't know.
It almost sounds illegal to me, but whatever.
Maybe he was 16. That's like that.
Maybe.
Well, this was earlier. I don't know when those
laws
age limit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, he was doing this in high school, and when he couldn't afford his AP class textbooks, he worked with the mayor to reform the education board to get those textbooks for free.
What kind of high schooler is this?
And yeah, those books should have been provided.
Well, yeah.
But that's how you could tell the type of person he was.
Wow.
Like driven, smart.
I mean, I'm rooting for him now. I don't know how we'll feel later.
Right.
I feel like we're on Scam Goddess. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, that's what we are today.
Yes.
So he was elected to the Union City Board of Education in 1974, becoming the youngest candidate ever to hold that position.
Wow. I'm sorry. I feel like also I'm getting red flags for all of this because every time like on Behind the Bastards and also on Scam Goddess, when they bring up someone like this, they're like, if you're a child and you enjoy
working
this something, yeah. They're like, that is a red flag.
I mean, he was 20 when he did this.
But like,
The
it's
youngest
always
candidate.
like little things like that. Like, oh, they're the youngest person to do this. And then I'm like,
It is.
So, okay. I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not saying like has to be a red flag, but low key kind of is.
Yeah. No, kind of agree there. So he also tried running against William Musto, his mentor, for mayor, but he lost in 1982. Between 1987 and 1992, he did win the election to represent New Jersey's 33rd district in the General Assembly. In March 1991, he moved from the Assembly to the New Jersey State Senate because the previous senator died. And he won that sudden emergency election, and he became the senator. And then in 1992, there was some redistricting. And so when this happened, the 13th district became majority Latino district. And Bob Menendez decided to run in the primary for, is this for the Senate? I didn't write it down, for something. And he did defeat, it is for the Senate. Defeat Robert Haney 68% to 32%.
That's kind of a lot.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I could go on about his political careers, but like he won a lot. And I didn't want to bore anyone with details. But this is all just to get a sense of his like
his ambition, his career,
his ambition before the crime and corruption,
his red flags.
Yeah. So throughout his time in the Senate, he tended to vote like Republicans when it came to foreign affairs. Most senators do, though. Like, it's a rare number that don't do this. They don't vote this way. But he was a strong advocate for immigration reform. He introduced the Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act of 2011, but it died in the Senate Judiciary Committee, as things do, if you remember that School of Rock bill.
Yes.
I'm a bill. Yeah. I don't know if it actually said that. In 2009, yeah. In 2009, he introduced the Orphans, Widows, and Widowers Protection Act, which would grant a pathway to citizenship for undocumented widowers and orphans of deceased U.S. citizens, which is, something that should happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I looked this up on congress.gov/bill. You can look things up and where they are.
Yes.
And this never got past the judiciary either.
Lame.
Yeah. He was a strong supporter of the DREAM Act, voting for it, co-sponsoring it. He voted to continue federal funding for sanctuary cities. Despite all this, he did vote for the Secure Fence Act of 2006, which was to build 700 miles of barriers and expand surveillance at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Don't like that.
Nope. He supported gun law reform and called for universal background checks for gun owners and the banning of assault weapons, which made the NRA hate him. He also voted for the Respect for Marriage Act, which was signed into law in 2022. If we remember, that's how they basically said, yes, you can be married if you're gay. Like, it repealed that earlier thing.
The name makes it sound like it's respect, like traditional marriage, and I was like,
right.
I forgot
that was the name
of that.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the previous thing, but it basically undid the previous law that banned gay marriage.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And he voted for that too. So all this to say, consistently on the right side of things.
He looks good for now.
Yeah, he was even a member of the Human Rights Caucus, among other caucuses. That's not the right word.
I don't know it either.
Plural caucus.
The plural word is kakai.
Yeah, that sounds right. And he was celebrated as the sixth Latino ever to serve in the U.S. State Senate.
Wow. Wow. Sixth?
Yeah. Sixth ever.
Damn.
Latino to serve in the Senate.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's doing big things.
Trailblazer over here.
Truly. His entrance into major politics was dethroning a corrupt mayor. Ooh. If we want to be dramatic about it. Because that mayor that was his mentor that I mentioned earlier.
Really?
He had to testify in a corruption trial against that mayor. And then he won that mayor's seat like a few years later. So yeah, like on paper, if looking up to politicians is your thing,
like right now he's like looking good.
Yeah, someone to look up to, a Latino politician to look up to.
Very AOC.
Yeah, not as progressive, but yeah, still consistently voting the right way, doing things, trailblazing things, right?
Right.
breaking the glass ceiling, as you might say. So all this changed when he fell from grace and into prison. Dramatic music.
Prison?
Yeah.
¿Qué pasó?
That's what I'm sharing. Bob did it all for love and friendship.
What?
I guess Bob's political successes were just not enough. His staffers would later say that he wanted to be rich.
Oh.
Yeah. So in 1995, during a pricey Democratic Party fundraiser, you know, the ones where the plates all cost a bunch of money, and that's how they raised money. So it's like all rich people. During a fundraiser like this in Florida, Bob Menendez met Salomon Melgen, and he was an eye doctor in West Palm Beach and a multimillionaire after some investments. He and Bob really hit it off. They were both Latino men with immigrant parents who fled their countries. Except like Solomon was from the Dominican Republic, not from Cuba. But they bonded over that, you know, the trauma of being raised as a Latino child of immigrants. So they became besties after that. And this fundraiser marks the start of that relationship that involved favors. Lots of favors. Yeah,
favors.
So this was where Solomon first donated money to Bob. Oh my God, I was going to say Bob. Bob is where he first donated money to Bob, and it was a small $500 donation.
Okay, just
and
$500.
That was just the start.
No biggie.
Yeah, just no
chump
biggie.
change for Solomon.
Yeah, exactly. And the two became close after this. The families met together. They vacationed together. Solomon started paying for flights for Bob.
He flew out the family.
Yeah, and when Bob became a senator, Solomon started making large donations to his friend. Bigger donations. And then at some point, Bob starts doing favors to help his buddy Solomon out. So in 2008, Solomon went to Bob for help because his 22-year-old Solomon was also married, a married man.
Oh, okay.
But he went to Bob Menendez to help his 22-year-old girlfriend from the Dominican Republic visit because her visa was denied. And he was like, I don't know why it was denied. Bob, please help me. And Bob did. The visa was personally expedited by him, like it immediately approved.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know they could do that.
Apparently.
Wow.
It's not common.
Oh.
But it can happen because he called in a favor and the visa was approved in seconds.
Wow.
He did this 2 more times with 2 other girlfriends.
Oh my God.
For Solomon, who was married.
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. And like maybe this isn't straight up corruption, but like it's little tiny steps to get there.
I mean, everyone starts somewhere. Usually it's something small and then it just leads to more and more, bigger things, crimes.
Exactly. Yeah. So in 2009, Solomon came to Bob for help with a problem, but this was no small problem. Solomon had been overbilling Medicare for a drug used.
Oh, no.
In his practice, and this amount that he overbilled was summed up to almost $9 million.
Oh no. Oh my God.
8.9 million to be exact. And so Bob, being a good friend, Bob went to the Senate Majority Leader's office and to the Secretary of Health and Human Services to help his friend Solomon. And I mean, he must have, because like
so he wrote then other people to make this problem for Solomon go away. That's wild.
Yeah. And then in 2011, Solomon went to Bob again. He needed help with a port security contract for a company that Solomon was a part owner of. So he was like, help me with my company, with my security company. That's what he went to Bob for help, right? So the help he needed was that his security company had a $5 million contract with the Dominican Republic, the government of the Dominican Republic, but the government was trying to back out of this deal. And so obviously this would lose Solomon a lot of money. It was a $5 million contract. So then Bob, being a good friend, just a good friend, he stepped in. But like, he was a member of the Senate of Foreign Relations Committee.
Oh no.
And at some point he became the chair of that committee. Oh, sorry. He was also the chair of the committee that oversees relations with the Dominican Republic.
Oh, that's not good.
So if he, in this position, goes to the Dominican Republic and persuades them to take this contract, that's like ethically
Yeah, that's not right.
wrong.
Yeah.
But Bob pushes to enforce his contract for his friend. Why wouldn't he? Because over the years, Solomon had given him hundreds of thousands of dollars in gifts, which Bob kept out of his financial disclosure report.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And then in 2013, Bob became the chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, the first Latino ever to hold this office.
Wow. He's giving us a bad name.
Oh my God. As this is happening, as he got this position, the FBI is raiding his bestie's offices because Solomon wasn't just committing Medicare fraud by overbilling that one medication. No, he was also falsely diagnosing patients with macular degeneration. This is not super rare, but it's not super common. This is an age-related eye condition. Part of the retina called the macular becomes damaged. It happens in people older than 50 most of the time. There is a more rare genetic version of it. So again, not super rare, but not this common.
Not as often as he was diagnosing it.
Exactly. Yeah. So he was overdiagnosing it and then billing tests and procedures related to the diagnosis that was overdiagnosed. And getting all that money for the diagnosis and for all the tests and procedures related to the diagnosis that was not true in the first place. Yeah. And so, you know, whenever senators get positions like these, they do have to go through like a, what's it called? A hearing.
The confirmation hearings?
Yes. And so during this, Bob spent his time defending his friendship with Solomon because it was under scrutiny. Because of course it was.
They're like, Bob, tell us about your homie, Solomon.
Yeah.
I've
What can you
heard
say about
some
him?
sketch things about him.
Yeah. And during this time, Bob even tried to pay Solomon back for some of the free flights to the Dominican Republic to make it seem less like bribes and favors. But he only paid for 2 when there had been over a dozen flights.
Oh, wow.
And after a year of being questioned about this, Bob's campaign paid big money to retain a Washington law firm to, like, you know, defend themselves against all this. And then April 2015 came. Bob was indicted on federal corruption charges due to the Solomon situation.
Ooh.
And during this, he gave a speech defending his anti-corruption stance. Like, how could I be corrupt? I came into politics standing up against corruption. I can't be corrupt.
Oh my God.
And the crowd was still on his side. They cheered, they clapped.
That's like, remember when, well, this is going to sound dumb when I say it, but okay, remember when Kendrick and Drake were first feuding, right? And then didn't Drake come out and say the dumbest shit? Something about like, if he liked Millie Bobby Brown or some dumb shit he said. I don't remember what he said, but it was so stupid. And it's like, that's the argument you're going to use to defend yourself.
Oh,
I don't remember what he
about.
said. Actually, I think it was one of the songs, in one of Drake's songs, like one of his responses, but I don't remember what he said.
Like,
but it was so stupid. You know what?
If I was a pedophile, would I do this?
Yeah.
And it's like something that a pedophile would do.
It was so dumb. I don't even know how would I look this up?
Drake pedophile line.
Defending himself.
Drake is not a name that you're gonna see on no sex offender list. If I was effing young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for this shit you just suggested.
Yes, that's the vibes it's giving.
If I was corrupt, how could I?
I would be arrested. If I was doing crimes, I would be arrested.
No, you're right. You're right. That is the vibes. Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought that up.
You're welcome.
Oh, that was funny. And yeah, his constituents were still on his side. His fellow party members still on his side. But like, again, these were just words because like the money trail was there.
The evidence was there.
There was a lot of emails between Bob and Solomon, emails that showed Bob accepted free flights on private jets and large donations in exchange for helping Bob with several things like the visas with the girlfriends who were far, far younger than him, but still adults. And it takes 2 years for the case to go to court. Like these things have to be prepared, right? And so I guess that's when I thought this happened more recently, but from what I was researching, it looks like around when this case is going to court, McDonald versus the United States happened. And I'm not going to get super into it, but the podcast 5-4 does have an excellent episode on why this is not a good ruling, but it was a good thing for Bob because essentially this redefined what bribery is when it comes to politicians. According to SCOTUS blog, the federal bribery statute 18 USC 201 makes it a crime for a public official to receive or accept anything of value in exchange for being influenced in the performance of an official act. But an official act is a decision or action on a question, matter, cause, suit, proceeding, or controversy. That question or matter must involve a formal exercise of governmental power and must also be something specific and focused that is pending or may by law be brought before a public official. To qualify as an official act, the public official must make a decision to take an action on that question or matter or agree to do so. Setting up a meeting, talking to another official, organizing an event without more does not fit that definition of an official act. Do you have a more basic way of saying that? I do, but I don't know if you want to.
I think it's the same as you're going to say.
Okay. Basically, a politician is receiving a gift they shouldn't be. The person giving that gift has to say, this is a bribe in exchange for this thing that I want.
Yeah, that's the same thing I was going to say. And I was like, that episode cracked me up. Because first of all, it's like a horrible, dumb ruling. But that's how they explain it. And they're like talking shit the whole time. So yeah.
Sir, excuse me. Here's this money for
Will you take this bribe, please?
This is a bribe. So yeah. Now making it harder to prove,
say,
what a bribe, if it was bribery or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was terrible for the country.
Right. Because they're all taking bribes and fucking all of us over.
Yes. Yeah. So good for them.
Especially Clarence Thomas.
Fucking Clarence Thomas. Yeah. Terrible for us. Good for our politicians.
Great for them.
And for Bob. Great for Bob.
Way to go.
And terrible for the prosecution. Again, great for Bob.
As he was about to start trial.
Yeah. So they called several witnesses for the prosecution. One of them was one of Solomon's many ex-girlfriends, Ukrainian part-time model Svetlana.
Love that name.
And I was watching something else that was talking about this, and they were like, Svetlana showed up to court in a all black suit, her long, gorgeous black hair, and her just red, fiery nails. So she was looking like a boss, it sounds like.
Slay queen.
And so she was supposed to testify on the behalf of the prosecution to like prove that Bob was taking advantage of his position to help Solomon. That was the goal, right? And so when she testified, she was asked, do you know why you're here? She was like, no, he's forcing me to be here about the prosecutor.
Oh my God.
Like, no, I don't know why I'm here. Literally, she sighed. She sighed and said no, which everyone like chuckled a little bit.
On the record, they're like, she sighed.
For the record, there was a visible, audible sigh.
The court clerk sighed. Witness sighed. Rolled her eyes and said, no.
No, because that's what she did. And when asked about the role that Senator Menendez played in helping get her visa, she said, it's a very long time ago and it's very hard to remember exact conversations. And it's very hard to talk to you because you get picky with every word that I say.
Oh my God.
People laughed again. She was entertaining.
Oh no, that's not good.
Yeah. And her testimony really made them sound like BFFs, and like it wasn't just him using his power to help Solomon. They were like hermanos, is what she said. They said they were hermanos. And at some point she said that this was all so boring.
Oh my God.
And the court person to laughter.
Wow.
That you're just like, what do they say when they hit the gavel and they're like,
order.
Yes. Bring in the crabs. No. But yeah, it was a mess and people loved her, and it was not helpful for the prosecution. Helpful for Bob.
Damn.
Cory Booker, another, I think you know who that is, another New Jersey senator, testified on Bob's behalf too. Like the Democratic Party was on his side.
Oh wow.
Well, they all thought he was innocent at this point. They were all rooting for him. They also needed him to win because if he was found guilty, the Republican governor at the time would pick Bob's replacement. So these testimonies all go through, and in the end, just before Thanksgiving, the case ended in a mistrial because only 2 jury members found him guilty and 10 declared him innocent. So yeah, it was a mistrial. He was free to return to his political career damage-free. And instead of taking this opportunity to like stop and be better and like not do things that maybe he was like, this isn't corrupt, this isn't me taking advantage of my position. Maybe he really believed that. I don't know.
Oh,
But instead of doing those things, he did the opposite because he met the love of his life. And who wouldn't do things like this
for the love of their life?
Yeah.
You want to show me you love me? Do crimes for me.
Yeah, that's the real test, you know? And they already knew each other. I guess he didn't meet her officially at this point.
So they got married.
Official. They got together.
Oh.
Yeah, they made it official in 2018. So this brings us to Nadine Arslanian. Bob knew her for 10 years at this point, but they were just friends. The kind of friends that you call and wish a happy birthday to every year. And Nadine, this was a surprise to me. Nadine was well known in New Jersey. She had been trying to become friends with the Real Housewives of New Jersey for a long time.
Okay, Nadine.
And they all knew her. And even they said she was a bit much for them. Yeah, and she was too much for them. How? Like they said she was too obsessed with status symbols like fancy clothes and Botox.
Oh wow! I need to see a picture of Nadine.
Oh yeah.
If that's coming from the Real Housewives,
right away it's like you can tell she's out of Bob's league.
Wait, I need to see a picture of Bob too. Oh, and this gentleman next to her must be Bob.
Yeah, that's Bob.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. We'll post these pictures on the YouTube video and then later on Instagram too. So yeah, she was too much for the Housewives of New Jersey, the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
That's wild.
Apparently she was enemies with most of them.
Wow.
So yeah,
they're like, Nadine, I know that bitch.
Yeah, take from that what you will. She was also well known in the dating scene, but not in a good way because she had very strong emotions like jealous, possessiveness, restraining order level strong.
Homegirl's abusive.
She was arrested in 2018 for violating a restraining order against an ex, but before she was put in cuffs and removed from the scene, she hit the guy with the photo album.
But she was actually abusive.
Yeah, yeah. And for a while, she was on and off with a lawyer named Doug, who represented R. Kelly at some point. So
interesting.
All of this is like, ugh, really? R. Kelly? Disgusting. But Bob had always accepted her for who she was. They connected on a deeper level, both of them being from immigrant families that fled their countries. She was Armenian. And then in December 2018, on the phone with her, he confessed that he loved her. He's always loved her. He would treat her right, not like Doug. And she was like, oh my God, how did I not ever see this? And they left together for a trip to the Dominican Republic just a few months after being together, but they would meet at the local IHOP every week after this confession of love.
Okay. That's weird.
You wouldn't meet at the local IHOP?
A weekly IHOP date, a standing IHOP date. I don't know. I don't think so.
It's actually a bit much, yeah, to be eating like IHOP that often.
It's not even that good.
No, it's not. Oh my God. So yeah, at some point after their Dominican Republic trip together, their first solo trip together, Nadine introduced her good friend Wael Hannah to her new boyfriend, Bob Menendez. And Wael had been down on his luck for a while. Despite his good connections with the Egyptian government, Wael was not doing good. He had a few failed businesses, but he had a new plan. Wael was gonna start a new company, a new halal meat processing company.
Oh, I was like, Bob is his plan?
Well, yeah, Bob is part of his plan. So he was going to start this company, and his first contract was with the Egyptian government, but only if Bob used his power as the head of Foreign Relations Committee to loosen up military and financial aid to Egypt.
Oh, no.
Egypt would agree to help Wael with his company if Bob did this
that
for them. Yes. So this isn't like helping Solomon anymore.
Yeah.
Then it's not done. Wael's plan is not over. Then Wael would hire Nadine for a high-paying job that wasn't real.
Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This actual, like, even more scamming beyond bribery.
Yeah. Fraud. And this was also public. They met with Egyptian officials in a public restaurant more than once. They took selfies together.
At least be sneaky about it if this is what you can do.
Meet in some...
Don't meet at the local IHOP every week.
Hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Secret restaurant. Come on.
Wow.
Order in. But no, they took literal selfies together.
Oh my God.
during these meetings. And this continued for a year. During this time, Bob did use his position to advocate to send more aid to Egypt.
Wow, Bob.
Nadine was the middle person going between Bob and the Egyptian government. The government did grant Wael's halal meat company a monopoly on halal meat, which didn't sit right with the USDA. So the USDA was like, let's look into this because this would raise the prices of halal meat in the United States. And so they were like, what's going on here? And Bob stepped in again to defend Wael using his power. He was like, let me call up the USDA. And he's like, leave Wael alone.
Oh, no.
And they did.
Oh, no.
But this brought in the FBI, who had already kind of had Wael on their like list of like, let's watch out
on
for
their
this
radar.
person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, radar. Thank you. And so FBI agent Terry Williams Thompson was at Morton's Steakhouse doing surveillance on someone else. She wasn't there for them.
Oh my God. Wow.
But she noticed Bob Menendez walking in with his wife.
She's like,
Nadine.
oh, got him.
Mm-hmm. He walked in with Nadine, Wael, and a known Egyptian intelligence officer.
Oh, no.
And she's like, okay, this is weird. Why is this group of people together? This is not normal. So she's like doing her normal surveillance, but she's paying attention to this group of people too. And she overhears Nadine say out loud for everyone to hear, I guess, what else can the love of my life do for you?
Wow.
To the Egyptian intelligence officer. That's like not something you want to be caught saying to them.
Right.
So now she takes us back to the FBI. And now the FBI is like looking at all this. And if you look at the Google Docs there, and I'll post this picture, but there's a picture in there that FBI agent Terry took at the steakhouse. And it's like that classic picture that you don't want anyone to see that you're taking a picture.
Terry being a chismosa for a living.
Yeah. But yeah, she took a picture of them.
Teacher. Wow, wow, wow.
So yeah, again, they were very public about their fraud.
It's like the dumbest thing you could do.
Mm-hmm. A couple months after this meeting, the FBI noticed that Bob wired $230,568 with 54 cents.
Oh, that's so specific.
Into a fake company set up by Nadine.
Oh, wow.
This happened to be the exact amount that Nadine needed to stop the foreclosure of her house.
Oh my God. I'm saying you can at least like round up a little bit or, you know, like,
yeah,
you're just making their case for them. Like you're neatly tying up all the evidence together. Like you're putting the string on the board for them.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Of course, Bob and Nadine had no idea the FBI was on their tail. And so instead of laying low, they started up a new corrupt relationship with someone else named
my God.
Jose Uribe.
Wow. They just went in harder on the corruption and the frauding and the scamming. Okay.
Yes. Who they were connected to Jose Uribe through Wael. So already you're like...
Wael is a sketchy dude, and anyone you meet through Wael is going to be automatically sketchy, right?
Yeah. So one of Jose Uribe's friends was already being investigated by the FBI for insurance fraud, and Jose Uribe knew that he would be implicated eventually by this investigation. So he wanted Bob's help to keep the FBI off his back.
Oh, wow.
And Jose gave them things to try and get on their good side to make this happen.
He's stupid. I fear.
Yeah, he made big donations to Bob's campaign. He threw a whole fundraiser for Bob. He gave Nadine $15,000 in cash, which Nadine used for a brand new Mercedes. Then he started making the monthly payments for that Mercedes.
Wow.
Then Nadine texted Bob, "We're the proud owners of a new Mercedes."
Again, they're leaving that paper trail for the prosecution.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So after all these gifts, Bob then tells Jose that he's about to meet with the New Jersey Attorney General. He has Jose write down the list of his associates so that he can look into this for his meeting with the Attorney General. Put a pin on that. 2 weeks after this meeting with Jose Uribe, where he tells him, "I'm about to meet with the New Jersey Attorney General. What's that problem you wanted me to fix for you?" So that's what happened in that meeting with Jose and Bob, right? 2 weeks after this meeting, Bob and Nadine are in the Taj Mahal, and Bob proposes to her. This is now October 2019.
Oh, I thought they were married already.
No. Again, a couple weeks after the meeting with Jose Uribe, after he'd been giving them all those gifts. This is now Taj Mahal. And they posted it on social media. They're all happy. Jose sees this too. And click on that YouTube link in the Google Docs. And you have to hear this because I have to hear it.
Okay, I'm gonna press play now.
All the shine of 1,000 spotlights, all the stars you steal from the night sky will never be.
That's long enough, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, that's...
Don't like that.
We'll describe the scene for those on Spotify. Don't worry. So what you just heard is Bob singing to Nadine. That was the proposal. He's sitting behind her on a bench.
And they're sitting together in the worst possible way.
It's the worst fucking thing I've ever seen.
I don't like PDA, okay? I don't like watching it. I'm just going to say that. I don't care if I sound like a prude. I don't want to see it, okay? Not in front of my salad. And and the way that they're sitting, the way that I'm just like, I don't like this. This is very reminiscent of the couple that sits next to each other at the restaurant. I don't like that either. I don't.
Yeah.
And that's how that couple would stand also. Like she's sitting, first of all, on a bench behind her.
On the top part of the bench where your back goes.
He's standing there behind that, I guess. Yeah. I thought it was a bench that didn't have that upper part.
Oh.
It was just like a bench, you know, like the bench.
Actually, this
like
makes more sense. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So just a behind plain bench with no upper back portion. I don't know what you call that. Not like a chair. A bench. And he's sitting, she's sitting, he's standing behind her, and then she's looking up at him the whole time while he's singing, and it's disturbing. It's not cute. I don't know what they were trying to do, but it wasn't cute.
It was weird and gross. And so the song he's saying is Never Enough from the musical The Greatest Showman.
Ugh. Actually, I never watched that.
Yeah, that's a musical about P.T. Barnum.
Yes.
Yeah.
The circus freak. Freak as an exploiter of people.
Yeah. No, of course.
Freak as a literal freak, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Not like a normal freak.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying to her to propose.
Weird.
Fucking weird. Yeah. But honestly, to be sitting like that and like be okay with it, you know, they're both fucking freaks.
Yeah. And then singing out loud like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In public.
And her being okay with that.
She's
like
just
if it's not karaoke and my spouse is singing out loud for everyone to hear, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Yep.
Karaoke night is fine. So yeah, if you're on YouTube, we did play the video. If not, we described it pretty perfectly. It was fucking gross. So Jose Uribe saw this video and he was like, oh, I'm happy for my new corrupted friends. And then he gets a call like almost right away from Bob. And Bob tells him, oh, don't even worry about the thing that you needed help with. It's all taken care of. So I guess he was able to drop those investigation charges, or he thought he was. I don't know. Yeah. And so, you know, things went on. They were happy, engaged. I don't know when they actually got married, but they were happy, whatever. Bob and his wife, Nadine, I almost forgot her name. Yeah, it was all happy for them. But that didn't last long because eventually, when did this? I didn't write down the date, of course. Well, December 2020, might have been January 2020. Anyway, the FBI raided Wael's home and his offices. And like Bob should have been worried because he was deep in it with Wael. But he wasn't worried. He continued to meet with Egyptian government officials. He met with an Egyptian top spy in March 2020. And this spy gave Bob a new mission.
A mission
like Kim Possible. He told Bob, actually, I don't know. I don't know. It could be a woman.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
women are spies too.
Yeah, women are spies.
Not anymore.
Too. No. No, not here. Not in the US. Anyway, this spy gave Bob a mission. They said, we want you, Bob, to stop Ethiopia from building a dam on the Nile River. And Bob got to work. He emailed 2 cabinet secretaries to get involved with this, to put pressure on Ethiopia to not do this.
That's something he should be doing though, right?
I don't think so. I don't think he should be.
It's part of the job. Like,
I don't think that a spy from another government should be able to go to a senator and say, stop this country from building this thing in my river.
I fear you're right.
I don't know. That's just me. Maybe that's just us. I don't know. In exchange for Bob's help with his dam, Wael bought them things. Nice exercise equipment, air purifiers.
I hope it was like something expensive. That this is ridiculous.
Yeah. And then things got worse from there.
Like I did a foreign scam with the foreign government, foreign interference with dams for a Peloton. Like
For a Peloton, you could probably afford.
they're kind of pricey. I did look into it and I was like,
They're like $5,000.
I felt like that was pricey. I'm like, I'll just
That's
keep going
fucking crazy.
to the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, I would never.
Maybe I would do a crime for a Peloton then.
You know what? I'm just going to zoom in. Put this clip for Instagram,
You know what?
incriminate ourselves. Sorry, if you're listening, we're just making faces at each other.
Like
would we? Maybe. And yeah, again, things got worse because Bob wasn't done. He made another shady friend.
Bob.
Bob, come on. Fred Davies. Fred was a real estate developer, and he like dressed shady. He was wearing a pop collar with a golden chain.
Oh.
Like those sleazy 70s crime people.
Anyone
in
with a
shows.
pop collar, I'm like, better steer clear.
Yeah. So Fred Davies was the one who helped Wael with his halal meat business. So that's already like, okay.
Yeah.
Because again, Wael was raided by the FBI for this.
Right.
Fred was also dealing with fraud charges, which is what he wanted Bob's help with. And also another thing, Fred wanted a Qatari royal family member to invest in his real estate deal. And Bob, being the head of foreign affairs or whatever the fuck,
Oh my God, not this again.
started talking up the Qatar government in like meetings. He's like, actually, Qatar's not that bad. Never mind their human rights violations. Really,
Forget
they're
about
not
that.
bad.
Who cares
Yeah.
about that?
In exchange for his help, Fred was sending over fancy watches and then just straight up bars of gold.
Wow.
And then fucking Bob searched how much is a bar of gold worth.
He's so stupid.
Oh my God. Incriminated himself. Yes. More. At least it wasn't Nadine texting him like, oh my God, these bars of gold we just got from, what's his name? Fred are so heavy. That was like the next thing. That's the only thing that would have been worse
Yeah.
than him Googling this. So then, unfortunately, Bob could not get rid of all of Fred's charges, even though he tried. Fred pleaded guilty to federal banking crimes and was facing a long sentence. And what do you do when you're facing a long sentence?
You trying to get away with it?
You try to get a deal. There's no getting away with it anymore.
Okay,
you try to work
gotcha,
out a
gotcha.
deal. Okay. And how do you work out a deal?
By snitching.
Yes.
Okay.
Fred,
You really
Fred
led me there.
snitched. I did.
Held my hand
I
through
held
that
your
one.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like waiting for you to say it.
Oh.
You're like, more crimes. No, Fred folded. He snitched.
Fred.
And Bob and Nadine had no idea that like at this time, Fred was giving out the deets. They were on a vacation, international vacation. I don't remember
they
where.
were. Of course they
Probably
were.
the Dominican Republic from a free flight from Solomon. I don't know. That's not a fact. That's just, they were on a vacation though. So while they were out, their home was raided by the FBI. And the FBI went through everything. They seized 13 gold bars.
Not the gold bars.
13 of them. And they also took $480,000 that was stashed around the house, hidden in places.
Oh my God. They literally didn't try to hide their crimes at all.
No. The FBI also broke down doors that they could have just opened.
Of course they did. And you know what? When they do that shit, you have to pay for it. They don't like reimburse your damages.
Yeah.
Even if they get the wrong house. Well, obviously
Yeah.
they kill people on wrong houses too. Like,
Of course.
it's out of hand.
Yeah, it really is.
In no way are we on the FBI side about this. You know, I think that if Bob was just helping his friends, I think without interfering in the governments, I think, no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't be fine with that because they're
Where
wasting
I
our
draw the
money.
line. Yeah, no, of course.
He's a public official.
Bob and Nadine got home to this mess and they were mad. They're like, where's my gold? Why is my door
Where are
on
my
the floor?
13 gold bars?
Oh my God. And so not long after this raid, Bob, Nadine, Wael, and Jose Uribe were all subpoenaed. The FBI was especially interested in the Mercedes that Nadine had. And so to look less suspicious, they started paying for this car for themselves because, again, Jose Uribe was making those payments.
Right.
Then Bob and Nadine make a new plan. They decided to make everything look like it was a loan. So they made a payment to Wael and they wrote to liquidate. Wow, I can't read. To liquidate the loan. But again, there was no loan. This was all gifted to them. Public officials. All getting an insane amount of money from people to make things happen for those people. So they do this together and they seem like a united front. But Bob was like, no. I'm going to pretend I know nothing about this and blame my wife.
Bob,
come on. That's today's slogan. Bob. So yeah, that was his next move. Pretend I know nothing, blame my wife. So on September 23rd, 2023, Bob was indicted on federal corruption charges for aiding and providing sensitive information to the government of Egypt. Right after the charges, he was like radio silent. Nobody heard from him. Then 2 days later, he gave a speech. In the speech, he's like, I'm not resigning from the Senate. I'm innocent. I've always held Qatar accountable for their human rights violations. And then in the speech, he tried to explain the giant stockpile of cash that the FBI took.
How do you explain that? What would you possibly say?
I'll tell you. He said, for 30 years, I've been taking out $1,000 of my savings and putting it in different places in my house as an emergency stash because of the history of confiscation my family faced in Cuba.
Damn. Blaming his immigrant trauma on this.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, you know, Cubans, things were taken from them, the rich Cubans that fled. And so he was like, because of that trauma, I need to hide money.
Wow. That speech also reminds me of the episode of The Office where they have to do a recall because of the animals that are printed on the paper having sex. And then Michael, like no one in the local media is making a big deal about it, and he's the one making a big deal about it. And then he makes that video about how he's not going to resign. That's what it's giving.
And then Bob got into his office, told his assistant to the regional manager to record him. I will not resign. But this time his excuses were not working. Nobody was on his side.
I mean, it's like a
this is
maybe the first time they'll believe you, but now it's like, come on, man, this is a pattern at this point.
We're gonna excuse fraud once,
but the second time,
ya no way. 2 weeks after this speech of his and the indictments, whatever, Nadine was this came out to light. Nadine was now facing, or people were questioning what happened. So in 2018, Nadine hit a 49-year-old man with her car and killed him.
Okay, so she did this before, and then now that this was coming to light, this like hit the news again, or people were like,
yes, it was published.
Okay.
Yeah, because somehow she faced no consequences when it happened in 2018. Somehow, I don't know. So on the night of the accident, she said the man came out of nowhere, and then she refused to give her phone up to police. She had a record of texting and driving a few times, and so they were like, we need to make sure you weren't texting when this happened, and she refused to give her phone up. Then someone claiming to be a retired cop stepped in and was like, Nadine's not being charged with this, blah blah blah. The man that she hit had alcohol and marijuana in his system and had been jaywalking, and so this investigation didn't go any further than this. And basically he was blamed for Nadine hitting him, causing his death. So now in 2023, the current Attorney General for New Jersey started looking into the situation, and it's alleged that Bob Menendez intervened with the prosecution and like blocked their investigation into this, and the charges were just dropped.
Wow.
And so that's how Nadine got away with it. And then this car that she was in this accident is the one they replaced the Mercedes with. Sorry, I'm saying that
this is how they got their Mercedes, because they were replacing the car that she hit someone with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's just not a good look.
No.
And then it just got worse. They both got another charge, conspiring to act as a foreign agent on Egypt's behalf. So Bob released another statement. He's like, I've always been loyal to the U.S.
I've never colluded with the foreign government. And if I did, no. Go on.
What?
No, I just keep bullshitting.
This time, the Democrats were not on his side like the first time.
About time.
There was senators calling for his resignation. The first to do this was bum-ass fucking John Fetterman. I'm sorry, I hate
Who's that?
Man. Oh, you don't know?
I don't think so.
He gets so much money from AIPAC, and if you know, you know, right? Yeah, and he doubled down on his stance on this. He even came out during all that with the flag tied around.
I saw that video or picture. I didn't realize it was him.
And let me backtrack a little bit. He came up as this very progressive senator, quote unquote. That was like, they voted for him in because he was like different and he didn't wear suits. He always wears hoodies and like
that's a red flag, first of all.
Yeah, and I say that as someone always in a hoodie. But he also was talking shit about immigrants, and his immigrant wife filed for divorce.
Oh wow. So that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you do it. So that's who John Fetterman is. And he was the one calling for Bob Menendez's resignation. And he bought a cameo from disgraced former Congressman George Santos. And go ahead and click that link.
Oh my God. Okay, so who bought a cameo? John
Fetterman
okay.
bought a cameo.
Gotcha. Yes. Okay.
This situation. Yeah. And I'm going to play it as well. 1, 2, 3, play.
Hey, Bobby. Look, I don't think I need to tell you, but these people that want to make you get in trouble and want to kick you out and make you run away, you make them put up or shut up. You stand your ground.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he bought a cameo from George Santos. Another person well-versed in scams.
Oh, yeah.
A fellow Latino, right? He's Brazilian?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Even his Bob's former mentee, Cory Booker, who defended him so hard the first time, started calling for his resignation. And he was like, it breaks my heart to do this, but like, you have to resign. And he was like, no. They're trying to kick me out because I'm a Latino man.
Don't pull the Latino card.
Please do not. But he did.
Wow.
And so then Jose Uribe pled guilty, agreed to testify against his co-conspirators. So Bob, Nadine, Wael. And Nadine and Bob got hit with another charge, obstruction of justice. They were like not playing with him. So this was because they tried to make the bribe money seem like loans after the fact.
Yeah, they were in fact obstructing justice.
Yeah, they really were. And if things didn't seem like they could get any worse, they did. Lawyers started trying to request a delay in Nadine's trial because she was sick. And this was actually true. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's still currently fighting breast cancer. Her trial was postponed indefinitely. So yeah, the judge agreed. Also during this time, they told Bob like, hey, if you testify, you would violate your spousal privilege by revealing incriminating information toward Nadine. And Bob was like, I don't give a fuck.
He's like, fuck her.
I walk, I will say whatever. And so
he's a not ride or die. He's looking out for number one himself.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a wife guy anymore. At the trial, his strategy was to say that he had no idea what his wife was up to, even claiming that the gold bars were all hers.
That's so stupid because you're the one at the Senate committees and speaking with the foreign, whatever. Like, that's you. That's not her. Yeah. And it was like a whole media circus. And Nadine's friends were like, we're going to defend her. So they spoke with the New York Post and they were like, Nadine's not a criminal mastermind. She's just a clingy girlfriend. But then they said that they were the ones to encourage her to marry Bob because she needed health care. So this isn't making her look good. It's making her look like a scammer.
Yeah. So I don't know what they were trying there, but
they tried their best. Is that what they did?
Maybe they're not very smart either. I don't know. 2 weeks into the trial, Jose Uribe is set to testify. He's like the star witness because he's the one flipping on them, right? Nadine wasn't at the trial because, again, she's sick. It's postponed for her. Everyone else is there. Jose comes clean. He tells the court that Wael told him Bob would help him avoid federal charges for $250,000.
So he was testifying for the prosecution?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, against
yes. Gotcha.
Everyone else. So he testified. Wael was the one who connected him with Bob because Bob would help him avoid federal charges, but Bob would only do it for $250,000. He also talks about the 2019 meeting in Bob's house where Bob was like, well, let me see what I can do when I meet with the Attorney General. Give me the list of people that you need me to ask about for the Attorney General. This is the meeting they had at the house. And this testimony directly contradicts the defense's strategy of, well, Bob had no idea.
Bob didn't know what he was doing.
Was at his house. He was the person at the meeting. And during the meeting, apparently he summoned Nadine with a bell. Like he rang a bell and said, Nadine, come bring me this paper.
It paints a different picture of the dynamics than Bob was trying to paint.
Exactly. Yeah. And also weird.
Yes, that too.
They're not beating the freak allegations.
They're really not.
No, because like, that bell was ready, like, and there. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. No. So yeah, it just goes against like, oh, I have no idea what my wife is doing.
Yeah.
And this was just the first blow to Bob's legal strategy. Then his staffer started testifying. Sarah Arkin worked for him as a foreign policy advisor. She was like, he's been acting so weird for years now. He was like, tone down on your public criticism of Egypt, when before he would never have said that.
Oh my God.
She wanted to write this public letter about like how human rights and blah blah blah.
He's like, hey, actually don't say anything about Egypt anymore, okay? Just keep it on the down low. Like we love Egypt now.
Yeah, he literally said, keep this private. We're trying to fix these communications with them in private. We don't need to do these letters calling them out anymore. So yeah. And then in 2021, she was helping coordinate a trip for Bob to Egypt and Qatar. And Bob came to this person that was testifying that he was like, go through Abdal Majid for my trip. And Abdal Majid was a code name for another Egyptian intelligence officer.
So he was speaking with two Egyptian intelligence officers. Yeah. Wow.
And he told his staffer, like, contact this person instead, a person they've never contacted before.
Like, I'm sure they trips. Have like official like avenues to book trips, channels, and this was like out of the norm. And she's like, "Who's Abdal Majid?"
Yeah, and turns out it was an intelligence officer who was apparently BFFs with Nadine.
What the hell? Where is she meeting these people?
I don't know. Through Weil, I guess.
Nadine's text with Abdal?
Yes, with Abdal Majid. So these were revealed in the court. Okay. Their text included, what nail salon should I use when I go to DC? What about riding camels in Egypt? Oh, also, what about the murder of this journalist in Egypt?
No. Oh my God.
Yeah. Incriminating.
Yeah. To say the least.
Yeah. And there would be just more and more hard-hitting testimony against Bob, as well as testimony in his favor. His sisters tried their best to defend him, as I guess any sister would. I don't know. They were like, he just keeps his money like that because he's Cuban. It's a Cuban thing. Our parents kept money in the grandfather clock in Cuba. It's a Cuban thing. You wouldn't understand because you're not Cuban.
Yeah.
Not a
the
strong
Cuban
argument.
defense. Did it work?
Yeah, the Cuban defense. Oh my God, no. After 3 days of deliberation, Bob was found guilty of all charges.
Wow.
And he's making history. This made him the first sitting member of Congress to be convicted of conspiracy to act as a foreign agent.
Wow. You know what? He just keeps going with these trailblazing moments. He doesn't stop.
Right?
Icon.
The first, one of the first Latinos to hold that one position.
Breaking records.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, making history as a Latino and a criminal.
Wow.
And all of this is happening, but like nobody's even realizing because the U.S. is in a fucking mess at this time.
Wait, so, okay, because I read 2020, 2021. When was he finally found guilty?
This was 2024 when he was found guilty. But this trial was overshadowed because at the same time, Biden had just had the presidential debate with Trump. And you know, the one where people were like, oh my God, he's not there, he's so slow, something's wrong with him, he needs to resign. This was happening, and then like just a few days after this is when Trump supposedly got shot in the ear.
No,
I don't know what really happened. I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
We were in Denver. Yeah.
Yes, we were having the times of our lives in Denver with our besties.
Yes, with a shout out, Aiden and Lainey. So all this was happening at the same time.
I didn't even know this happened. Yeah.
Same, because I was busy like, oh
Trump's
my God,
ear
what
was
just happened?
dominating the news.
It was. And so, he was able to like kind of go unnoticed, and also like, crazy. But even with this conviction, he would have been allowed to finish his term in the Senate and then go to jail.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I mean, look at Trump. So
yeah, not a surprise. And so Bob was like, I'm not going to resign again.
Very Michael Scott. Okay.
Yeah. And even though he didn't want to, he was eventually forced to. There was really too many people calling for his resignation.
Wow.
And so he did this August 2024. He officially resigned. And then there was another trial that was yet to happen that did happen January 2025. In this trial, he was sentenced. I think this is the trial to see what sentence he'll receive. He was found guilty, and then there was a second trial for his sentence.
Oh, okay.
And so that was set to happen January 2025.
And it was actually a trial?
Yeah. On January 29th, he was sentenced to 11 years in prison.
Oh, okay. So he was convicted and then sentenced. He was sentenced. Yes. Okay.
Not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
At the time we're recording.
Wow.
And again, overshadowed because the U.S. is a fucking mess.
Because we are in the fight of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, he is, I guess, in prison now.
Did you say how long?
11 years.
11 years. Okay. Yeah. Wow, Bob.
And that was the case of Bob Menendez.
That was interesting.
Yeah. I'm like, I hope it wasn't too. Like,
well,
why are you even?
We can get some feedback. Like, do you guys like scams? But just say it nicely, because Christina's very sensitive.
I will cry.
You can say like, hey, scams aren't really my thing. Or like, I love a good scam. Tell me more,
Yeah, but I will say when it comes to scams and fraud, this was on the kind of side of like, Bob, you're just dumb.
Bob is dumb. And I don't want to take away, like, he made decisions, he made choices. But I think a lot of it is like he was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I think he's like easily influenced, and he's dumb, and he lets like a good, like a friend and a partner really steer him the wrong way.
Yeah. What's that saying that our like parents always said all the time? Dime quiénes son tus amigos y
te diré quién eres. Yes.
Quién eres. Some shit like that. Like, show me who your friends are, and that shows me who you are. Yeah. And these are Bob's friends.
Yeah. This is Bob.
That's who. Yeah. Bob just wanted to be rich, and he didn't care.
He's
how
dumb.
He did it.
Yeah.
And now he's in prison for 11 years. But yeah, I mean, let us know. Should I like just no more scams? This fucking sucks, but not like that.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, that was the case. It was a long one. I think the moral of the story for the rest of us that are not Bob is like, we shouldn't put up people on a pedestal just because they're the first Latino to do something.
Pedestal. You said that weird, but yeah.
Oh, how do I say it?
I don't know. It's like the emphasis was like on the wrong part of the word.
Pedestal. Pedestal?
I don't even know anymore. Pedestal.
Oh, wait, what's the right way?
Pedestal. I don't know. However you said it the first time was wrong, I feel like. But now I'm not sure anymore. Now it sounds weird. Yeah. Pedestal. Yeah.
Pedestal. Okay. Whatever.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
You understood.
But yes, that is the lesson. Especially a politician,
Oh my God.
And this goes out to all you Trump lovers. I don't think we have any. I feel like we shouldn't have any.
I don't.
Right?
No, we really shouldn't after all the shit we've talked. Yeah. I don't think so.
You better fucking not, people.
And if you do, please don't leave us a 1-star review on your way out.
It really floors me the way that they... Like, you will never catch me idolizing a politician nor a celebrity in this manner. Like, this is just wild behavior. Like, fanatical. Literally crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
That reminds me, actually, I don't know if you had more to say.
Nope, that was the case. And I said the moral of the story to me. Right. So yeah, that was it.
Okay. So that reminds me, I guess it'll be my spooky recommendations. It's not really spooky. It's more like,
should we just jump into spooky recommendations?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So my recommendation is Defectors by Paula Ramos, and Cristina just started reading it. So we are also doing like an informal last minute, because we both happen to be reading it, little read along over Historias Unknown. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but the Patreon is free to join that part of it. And what do you think? I guess like when we're done, we'll just record a video and maybe people can join, like something like that. I'm not sure yet what that would look like.
We can, just do it live over on Patreon, but we'll make it so that all members can join, including free members. Or should we do like a Zoom? I don't know. I haven't used Zoom in forever.
know. We'll see what we do. But we're doing a read along and Christina's still reading it, so you still have time to join. And
yes. Oh, and like a couple of our Patreon members on Historias Unknown were like, "Oh yes, we're doing this."
I did see that
now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So exciting. But I already finished it because I couldn't stop listening to it. I was obsessed, and I'm still thinking about it. And it's early in the year, so I don't know if it'll be my favorite nonfiction book of the year, but I think it will be. But anyway, there's this part where Paula talks about a Mexican man who had a Bukele themed birthday party, which included cupcakes with Bukele's disgusting face on them. And he did this more than 1 year in a row. So I'm just like, this is outrageous behavior. And that's what those, fanatical Trump fans remind me of. Like, have you seen that Trump themed wedding?
No.
But disgusting.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just couldn't believe it. Like the way people are.
That's horrifying. That is I can't. I don't even have words. I don't even have coherent words. I would rather die than have a theme like that on any occasion.
Yeah. And this goes for any politician. You will never catch me.
Can you imagine? Oh.
That's just like wild behavior. Like we have to fight politicians. They're not usually on our side. You know what I mean? Not usually ever. So
no,
they're your enemy actually. So it's wild to be acting like that.
I can't wait to finish Defectors.
I can't wait to finish it either. Like I need to talk about it.
Yeah, I know. I need to finish. Oh, I'm still on page 10. I need to finish. The Parable of the Sower.
Right. I need to start
first.
The second one.
I'm halfway through it, so I'm almost done.
Nice.
Yeah. It's slower because I'm reading it and listening to the audiobook instead of just the audiobook.
I've never done that with a book.
It's because sometimes I miss things and I go back on the page and I'm like, oh yes, this is where I was, and I read that section, then I go back to the audiobook unless I miss something.
Counterproductive, but okay.
I'm sorry. It's because sometimes I just don't retain things.
Well, that's how I am with audiobooks too. But with Defectors, I literally would pause and write down a thought really quick.
Yes. Okay.
Or immediately share my thought with you. And that helps me retain it a little bit.
Yes. No, same. Okay. So that's your recommendation?
Yeah. Because I haven't really done much reading other than that. Okay. And especially because last time I gave my 10 recommendations all at once.
You should save them.
That's what I was doing for a while. But that day I couldn't stop talking. So...
That's true.
Yeah. That's true. Usually I do space them out.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I did. So I read Kindred. Did I already recommended that one, didn't I? The book?
Oh, maybe.
I don't remember.
I thought you only did Parable of the Sower.
No, I listened to Kindred immediately after that because I was like, I need more Octavia. And my library didn't have the second of the Parable of the Sower. Parable of the Talents, I think it's called.
Yes.
But they did have Kindred. And oh my God, Kindred was amazing. Actually, don't think
Kindred
I talked about it.
Good.
It is so good.
That's what I just said. You didn't talk about it.
Oh, you did say that. Okay. Well, I didn't hear you because I was talking, I think.
Yes.
I'm not sure. Anyway, it was so good. I rated it 5 out of 5. I finished it in 2 days because I couldn't stop listening to it. Well, a little longer, but still. And I just love I wish I knew what my ancestors were doing, back in the day. And just because inherently of our Mexican Salvadorian heritage, whatever, I know that we have some colonizers in our family. And so I feel in that sense, it's very relatable in Kindred because her, one of her ancestors he was an enslaver and he basically raped her ancestor. And that's how, her family came to be. And I'm like, oh my God, she has such hope for him that he was going to change his ways and actually be a good person, but that didn't happen because he was a product of his time. And I'm like, I wouldn't love to meet my colonizing ancestors, but I would like to know what they did and who they did it to, just to know.
What's so weird to me when people are it's always people on Threads too. Some people are just so weird on there.
What?
But there's some people that are you have to both sides of your family. You can't deny the Spanish side. And I'm like, ew.
Well, the thing is that I feel no one in our family has ever idolized, other than the general like propping up whiteness, as in, I don't know, calling the one person güera and like complimenting. Yeah, but
busca alguien más güero que tú.
Other than that, you know, the general stuff like that. I feel like, because there's other families that they're like, oh, we have a Spaniard ancestor and such, like,
we all have blue eyes.
We don't have like family like that. And so I feel like I've never idolized whatever Spaniard ancestry I might have. And I know it's going to be less than Mexican or Salvadorian or, you know, indigenous ancestry. I know that, because otherwise I would be taller. I would, you know what I mean?
I would have green eyes.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't relate to that at all. Like, huh?
I said, and I would talk like this all the time.
What do you mean like that?
If I had green eyes.
Oh, I was like, what do you mean? Yes. Yeah. Like all creepy and shit. So anyway, I liked that. And it reminded me too of, what other book did I read of? Is it The Haunting of Alejandra, where it has like some passages from her ancestors in the past. It reminded me of that too. So anyway, it was just really good. I love a good time travel book, but I mean, if it's going to be also about like racial dynamics and stuff like that, that's just that much better, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And
and I watched
not this again.
The whole point that I brought that up is because I couldn't remember if I talked about it or not, is that MJ told us that there's a show on Hulu about Kindred.
Oh yeah. Did you watch it?
I've only watched the first episode so far, and it's already two. I've watched 2 episodes, I think, and it's already way different than the book, because in the book, I think they're a little bit older in the book. Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah, she's like in her mid-30s.
Yeah, she's a little older. Yeah. So in the show, she's younger, and so is the Kevin. Her in the book, they're married. In the show, they're not married. They literally just met, and that starts happening to her. Okay. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like they need to have a connection already, in order for him to believe. But he sees it immediately, and he's still because you know how it starts off with the ending is, I don't know if there's a better way to explain that, but there has to be a word for that, but whatever. The opening scene of the book is basically what happens at the end. And so in the beginning of the book, she's already been time traveling to the past. And so then like that happens, and then I think it's a time span of months where it starts and she's time traveling back and forth or whatever. And so then the first time it happens, it's quick, and Kevin, her husband, thinks that it's not real, or that she's imagining or dreaming. And then I think she travels back in time like 2 more times until he sees it, once or 2 more times. And then in the show, in the first episode, it starts off differently. Not like, actually it does start off with a similar, anyway. But in the show, she meets Kevin at a restaurant when she's eating with her aunt and uncle, and then she needs a ride home, whatever, blah, blah. And at that point, she's already transported back once or twice, I think. And then he's back. He spends the night with her. Then she transports like one time, and the neighbors come because she's screaming because she's scared. I forgot what happens. But anyway, it happens again, and he literally sees her disappear in front of him. So that's why he believes it right away. But yeah, they don't have that emotional connection right off the bat like they do in the book. I feel like you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was a long-winded way of saying that. So I don't know what the show will look like. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Since I've only seen the first 1 or 2 episodes. So I'm going to keep watching. Just, you know, it wasn't bad or anything, but it's just different. You know how that happens.
Yes.
And it's in present, like more present time, not in the 80s like the book is.
Right.
In the 70s, actually, the book isn't from the 70s.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I actually don't have any spooky recommendations, so it's kind of good that you had all that to say, because I've only been watching, I don't know what got into me, but I've been watching 911 Lone Star.
Oh, you did mention that.
I don't know why. And honestly, I love Rob Lowe, so.
I do too.
Yeah. And like I told Carmen, but if you watch Parks and Rec, like his character in 911 Lone Star is very Chris Traeger coded. Yeah, he's like super healthy. Some girl tried to give him cookies, and he was like, I'm actually on keto. And then his firefighter's like, he's gonna eat the cookie.
Oh my God. Well, a while ago I started watching Parks and Rec, and I'm not at the part where Chris and Ben come yet, but I'm looking forward to that. They're almost
They really gave that show
on their way.
They really gave that show the fresh of breath air it needed.
Yeah. I like some episodes from before, but it doesn't hit the same without them. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I haven't been doing anything spooky other than working on this podcast and dying from the flu.
Yeah, that's the real horror, the flu.
That was the real horror. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, I don't know. If you've stuck with us this long, wow, this was a long one.
And yeah.
Don't forget that on Patreon, we are donating every month to a different charity. This month was Al Otro Lado's water drop program, where they drop off water in the middle of the desert. Water, food, weather appropriate clothing for those that need it out there, because when people need it, they need it. And so they're like saving lives by providing this stuff. So we did donate. We combined Espooky Tales and Historias Unknown. 20% of that goes to whatever charity. If you have any that you want us to donate to, let us know. If you want to help us with that and also help us at the same time, then join either Patreon, honestly.
Yeah.
Though on Espooky Tales, you do get actually, we should upload the vlogs to both, but you get our vlogs that Carmen's going to visit me in a few days, so we're going to have a vlog soon. And also we do episodes where we talk about our favorite media when it has to do with like a certain genre,
like a horror
like
theme
zombies
medium.
yeah. And then what? I gotta go.
Okay.
I will end this later. Bye.